Man, this is getting crazier by the day, isn't it? Vancouver Canuck fans are freaking out about Ivar Stenberg, and I honestly do think there's a reasonable explanation why. You see, Stenberg is one of the top prospects in this upcoming draft. And for Canucks fans watching the worst team in the NHL, obviously they're going to have the best chance at getting the first overall pick. That's self-explanatory. We all know the story. However, Ivar Stenberg over here is the current consolidatedly ranked number one prospect in the draft. He has overtaken Gavin McKenna when you average out all of the draft rankings and all the analysis. He finished off the regular season in the SHL with 33 points in 43 games. Meanwhile, Gavin McKenna in his Penn State University season has 51 points in 34 games over there. Pretty good seasons out of both of these dudes. But right now, Stenberg happens to be the number one on Elite Prospects, on Cam Robinson's list, on the Hockey News Tony Ferrari's list, and a whole bunch of others. Stenberg is a legit prospect, and he can be a number one winger in the long term. Same could be said about Gavin McKenna. But here's the thing about Stenberg is the relation to Vancouver and how everything culminated yesterday when Donnie and Dolly interviewed Ivar Stenberg on their program. Now, I will highly recommend you go out there and watch the full interview, which is available on YouTube. They posted some clips. This is just a minute each on the Donnie and Dolly Twitter account. But the reason why I thought it was so funny, now I'm going to use that word funny, to watch Ivar Stenberg talking about Swedish guys and players that he looked up to, the reason I thought it was hilarious is because this guy, when you listen to him talk, he sounds exactly like Elias Pettersson. Like, I listened to the interview. Within the first 2 seconds of him replying, I was like, wait a minute, this guy is like PD 2.0. They have the same voice, the same vocal inflections, the same pauses, the same accent. Everything is the same. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This guy is like a carbon copy, verbally, of EP40. And it's like, I didn't even realize that Swedish guys can have that much similarity when talking in a language that they had to learn secondarily. I mean, of course, I'm not going to go out there and use that against him, but I will say, Canucks fans are kind of freaking out about this because I have seen some Canucks fans on social media using Ivar Stenberg and his temperament, the way he responded in the interview and whatnot, to say things like, oh, I actually don't feel comfortable with the Canucks drafting him. And I think that's ridiculous. Let's go out there and dive into some of these replies over here. So, Fed Up Canuck went out there and said this on Twitter. If the Canucks get number one, you have to take McKenna, not Stenberg. Stenberg's Donnie and Dolly interview sounds just like EP40, and we don't need more of that. McKenna is what they're missing. Big, fast, tough as nails, a Canadian who will embrace the pressure. And look, this is one tweet, but there were a number of people that I did see saying, hey, wait a minute, this guy sounds an awful lot like Elias Pettersson. We don't need more of that. And that is so disrespectful and in a way funny to me, but either way, this tweet's going out there saying, oh yeah, McKenna. They need McKenna. He's big, he's fast. Isn't Stenberg like 30 pounds heavier than McKenna? I'm not sure I'd call him bigger. I'd still pick McKenna though. And yes, that is the way we need to evaluate these prospects, not just by using labels and talking about their nationalities and whatever. Ivar Stenberg is 6 feet 181, Gavin McKenna 6 feet 170. So they're the same height. McKenna's just lighter. So technically Stenberg is the bigger guy here. Here's another reply. Jabo Vancouver, he responded to the Fed Up Canuck tweet. This is one of the takes that I'm talking about. It is complete delusion from a fan who has clearly never seen McKenna play. This post makes him out to be some kind of power forward, when in reality, McKenna is a skill player who doesn't particularly play physical at all. Ridiculous. Now, there were some other replies that I also thought were interesting here too. Stenberg is bigger than McKenna. He plays a heavier game than McKenna. He is more physically engaged than McKenna. Also, some of y'all don't seem to understand how hard English is to learn. Even if 90% of Swedes are fluent in English, there are many regional and cultural nuances that are hard for non-native speakers to pick up on. Swedish verbs do not change based on the subject. They lack a direct translation to ing, which is the continuous tense, and most of them struggle with third-person singular. Now take all those struggles and imagine trying to understand hockey slang in a non-native language. Also the fact that Ivar Stenberg was getting interviewed early in the morning in Vancouver, which was probably late at night over there in Sweden. This guy had to stay up late to do an interview in a language that he doesn't primarily speak, and he's 18 years old. Like, okay, folks are going to go out there and use his voice and whatever to say that they don't want to draft him, which is so bizarre. But at the same time, I am not going to deny the fact that this guy, like, if you close your eyes and you listen to the interview, it's like, oh, I'm just listening to Petey. He sounds like Elias Pettersson, and it's so uncannily bizarre that it's going to bring out the weird opinions from some Canucks fans, which I will totally welcome here to talk about and dissect here on this YouTube channel. Gavin's Knucklebones went out there and said this: Stenberg was just on Donnie and Dolly. I don't like the guy. Something is off about him. Then a reply says, hey, he literally sounds like Pettersson when he was a rookie. Was he arrogant? Not at all. Seems to lack a passion or a pulse. He is drier than Brock Besser. Now, no disrespect to Gavin's Knucklebones, but I'll go out there and say this: a guy being dry, a guy not really having much emotion when he speaks, I don't really know if that's a prerequisite to being a good hockey player. And for the most part, Ivar Stenberg has been a fantastic hockey player this season, not only as a junior player in Sweden, but as a draft-eligible prospect, literally posting up some of the best numbers we have seen out of the SHL since the Sedin twins in the 90s. This guy has gone out there and bested out some of the best Swedish players we have seen draft-eligible in that league, including Elias Pettersson. Like, Pettersson was drafted out of the Allsvenskan. He wasn't in the SHL. Stenberg was, and Stenberg was producing at a crazy rate. So, heading into the next few years, if Stenberg decides to stick around in Sweden a little bit longer before coming over, I honestly have no doubt that this guy's going to be able to continue dominating the European scene, and then his NHL trajectory will seem all the more significant, and this could be a number one winger in the National Hockey League. I definitely do believe that. And Gavin McKenna, while I do have him as the number one guy in my mind personally, mostly due to the higher ceiling, you can't deny what Ivar Stenberg is doing. Like, this is a guy who's following in the new wave of these Swedish dudes that are totally taking over at their positions. Leo Carlsson is a monster. Rasmus Dahlin, fantastic. Carlson's a center, Dahlin's a D-man, Stenberg can be the winger. So, the next generation of Swedish hockey definitely looks pretty good, especially with this guy at the helm. We know Patrick Allvin loves his Swedes. He ended up visiting to watch Ivar Stenberg live a few weeks ago, which was also talked about in the Donnie and Dolly clip, so you can go out there and listen to that. And of course, Stenberg talking about how he likes the Sedins. He also talks about how he likes Crosby and all that, so that's a pretty good trivia fact there as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, though. These comparisons between Stenberg and Pettersson are so funny to me. How do you approach these conversations? Does it change the way you evaluate Stenberg as a prospect, temperament-wise, personality-wise, Pettersson-wise, I guess? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.